Ukraine?
No, not my fault. No, we'd like to get the peace. It should have happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened.
Well, it may not be the final offer, but President Trump is certainly hoping both Ukraine and Russia's war will finally end via his 28-point peace plan. President Zelenskyy of Ukraine provided this recorded statement in response to the U.S. proposal. Here's that clip.
This is one of the most difficult moments in our history. Currently, the pressure on Ukraine is one of the hardest. Ukraine may now face a very difficult choice, either losing its dignity or the risk of losing a key partner.
Western leaders say the peace plan needs some additional work, and talks are ongoing right now in Geneva. And let's break this down and what's at stake here with former special advisor to Ukraine's armed forces and the president of American University, Kyiv, Dan Rice, along with former advisor to the Minister of Strategic Industries of Ukraine, Yuriy. Gentlemen, great to be with you both today. Yuriy, I'd like to start with you. Here's some of the notable pieces of President Trump's 28-point peace plan to bring this war to an end. Russia wouldn't invade neighboring countries. NATO can't expand its alliance. The U.S. will resolve security issues with Russia and NATO countries. Ukraine would receive security guarantees. Its armed forces are reduced to about 600,000. The U.S. would also help rebuild Ukraine's gas infrastructure. Yuriy, speculation surrounds whether Russia penned most of this plan. Do you believe it's acceptable enough in order to end this war?
Good evening. I think in the form and shape that it has been presented so far, it is not acceptable by Ukraine. And this is why, actually, at the moment, like you said, in Geneva, there are talks between the Ukrainian side and the US side. And as our president commented already on these talks, the sides are working very meticulously on every point of this plan to ensure that what they get is, as a result, will be a plan that will ensure that this war never ends, that Russia never reinvades. But I would like to say this as well. Even if, for example, Ukraine, in a hypothetical, improbable scenario, agreed to these 28 points without any further negotiations, Russia would never agree to them. Why? Because Russia doesn't want peace, and that's our major obstacle. Russia wants war, and we're seeing it every day here in Ukraine.
Yeah, and Dan, I want to go to you next. Russia gained a substantial amount of Ukrainian territory during the war, as you know, and under the agreement, the U.S. would recognize Crimea and parts of eastern Ukraine as parts of Russia. Russia would relinquish territory that holds outside of eastern Ukraine, and a demilitarized buffer zone would exist along Kherson and the Donetsk regions. So, Dan, explain why giving up land, why that could be a deal breaker for Ukraine.
Yes, thanks for having me on. And yeah, I think some of these are non-starters. So the Ukrainian military has fought hard to maintain the integrity of Ukraine. Russia now controls 19% of Ukraine. There is no way Ukraine is going to give up land that the Russians weren't able to take by military force. That is ludicrous and a non-starter. Some of the other things that are non-starters, you don't invade a country and then tell them to cap their military at 600,000 soldiers. Russia has never had veto power on NATO's expansion. During the 25 years of Putin's rule, over half of NATO, 16 of the countries have joined. So all of these things they're trying to dictate onto a sovereign nation of Ukraine that was invaded, that's getting bombed every night, these are non-starters. But it's important that the U.S. president is now pushing forward a peace plan. That's very positive. And then at the same time, Ukraine is hitting Russian energy hard, and the sanctions are starting to take effect, secondary sanctions on India, and India is stopping the purchase. So we have many things happening at the same time, but for some of these 32 points, they're Russian wish lists and they're ridiculous. They're non-starters.
Yeah, Yuriy, President Trump wants both sides to accept this peace agreement, and he wants them to do it by Thanksgiving. Do you think that President Zelenskyy is more likely to accept, or do you think keep fighting?
I would like to say that President Zelensky is the president who was democratically elected, and he represents the Ukrainian people. It is a mistake to think that President Zelensky has power to single-handedly sign a document which might be at loggerheads with the national interests of Ukraine. So, of course, President Zelensky and his team will do everything they can as fast as they can to ensure that a workable peace plan is produced. But at the same time, whether it will realistically happen during this week, it's a bit far-fetched.
Dan, quickly, before I let you go, without giving any national security details about Ukraine's armed forces, what can you tell us about the health of Ukraine's military?
I think Ukraine's armed forces are stronger now than they were at the invasion of February 2022. Much larger, much stronger. They are exhausted. The frontline troops are exhausted. But this Ukrainian armed forces is being asked to teach all of Europe how to fight against the Russians because everybody fears them, Finland, Poland, the Baltics. All of these countries are asking Ukraine to help them because they all need Ukraine's help. Ukraine is the best army in all of Europe, the strongest, and Ukraine will not lose this war. We need to continue support of Ukraine. I love the fact the president is trying to find peace. Some of these points are ridiculous. They're Russian wish lists, but Russia is getting hit hard. Ukraine is taking the fight into Russia, hurting them economically, and that is how this war will end. Low oil will end this war. It's only a matter of time, hopefully soon.
All right, and we are going to keep on following this into Thanksgiving week for sure. Dan Rice, Yuriy, thank you both so much.